And I had a scout tell me a month ago he thinks Mason Graham will be there at 11, but that might have changed. It feels like maybe it's changing.
Send it right away.
Easy.
Immediately. Now I would be sitting there in the like, what just happened? I think I'd be dreaming if he was there at 11. Send it right
So
away.
there's no debate. Short arms, not sure about his weight. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Player. That's true. I mean, when he got to Michigan, he was an early enrollee, and usually, early enrollees, if you're on the outside as a skill position, you can transition because the physical aspect of the game it's different. Trench guys, whether it's defensive linemen or offensive linemen, it takes guys a few years to settle in. This guy was an early enrollee defensive tackle playing scout team defensive line against Michigan's offensive line, which won the Joe Moore Award, mind you. Like, that was the best offensive line in college, and a couple of those.
Did they win it 2 years in a row?
They won it 2 years in a row. So but there you go. Dominating them as a true freshman. He's got the wrestling background, so he plays with great leverage, violent hands. He's a great he can affect you in the drop back game. Like, he's a great pass rusher. Just turn on the tape to your fans if there's any question. Just go search Ohio State, Michigan, and just watch the way he affected that game. Absolutely, completely dominated that game in Columbus. And he's done that every game his entire career. And of course, teams know this, so they're double teaming Mason Graham. And it doesn't matter, man. That guy is he plays like a 10-year vet. Like, he's got all these little, sneaky, wise moves to go with just sheer power and strength.
What would you say, like, when you're drafting this, how you're looking for some just elite stuff? What's his most elite stuff?
He understands leverage so well. It's like he's like a martial artist on the field. He can sense when the offensive lineman is leaning and he's going to just rip you to the ground. He can sense when an offensive lineman's on his heels, he's going to bull rush you. So he's got a deep bag of moves. But what makes that really special is he's got such a great feel for what is the weakness of the position of the offensive lineman he's going against. And then he's got the move to exploit that weakness. So that's a rare combination.
So now we don't know if he's going to be there at 11. I also love that he played for Harbaugh. Harbaugh had a bad ending with the 49ers, but there are so many similarities between the types of players that Shanahan and Lynch like and the types of players that came out of a Jim Harbaugh program.
Yeah.
And this guy feels like one of them. So, okay. So arm length doesn't. Yeah, go ahead.
A few years when I was in Denver, we had a joint practice with the Niners. And this is why I say you go.
I remember that. Paxton Lynch was your quarterback.
Something like that. Yeah. We had so many quarterbacks.
I was there. That was here, right?
Were you there?
Yeah. That was
in Denver. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I wasn't there for that. No,
it was in Denver, and Kittle wasn't practicing. So once again, like we got dominated those days, and Kittle wasn't practicing. So there's another point of like, they didn't dominate us because of great tight end play. But I just vividly remember I was still injured and rehabbing an ACL at this point. The Niners, your defensive line took the field, and it was like, first of all, they look like NBA dudes.
Yeah, they had
like,
a squad.
I think you had like DeForest Buckner, obviously Nick Bosa. There was, and these
Eric Armstead's also like 6'7", 6'8".
Bang, that's what it was, and absolutely dominated. Our day was wasted. We didn't get any repetitions in because the defensive line was that good, and your second unit was that good too. So you had depth. That to me is like that when I think of the Niners, and you guys, I think you went to the Super Bowl that year. I believe you went to the Super Bowl that same year that we practiced against you guys. So that's why that's where my philosophy is. That's a big reason I'm basing my philosophy on that.
I appreciate the you guys, like I'm you guys,
right?
We're all you guys. Yeah. Man, these guys. Okay. Now, is he going to be there at 11?
I doubt it. I think when you were at that time in the draft cycles where now everyone's given their best stuff. So now you're getting into the crazy stuff. People are just having fun with it. Mason Graham's going to slip. No, I do not believe Mason Graham will slip. I will say Michigan's got another one that you guys, Kenneth Grant.
Yeah.
In terms of physical freak, that's a different level of specimen. Like watching him and looking at him up close, and I'm like, holy cow. Jim Harbaugh, I think they're in the same class, I want to say. Jim Harbaugh, after 1 week of spring practice, when those guys were early enrollee freshmen, he said, I woke up this morning and I said, thank you to the football gods. We have 2 freshmen that are gifts of the football gods. And he was referring to those 2 guys. Kenneth Grant is not one that's getting mocked as high as Mason, but in terms of physical potential, he's probably got a higher ceiling just because he's bigger and probably faster and longer arms. Mason has more production and better general film across the board. But
it feels like they're opposites. Like Graham is the guy that does like you can't say we'll just turn on the tape any game with Kenneth Grant, like the way you can with Mason Graham, right?
Better this year. It's been you can't Mason. Why Mason is like from the very first snap as a true freshman, he's maintained this insane standard of football film. Kenneth, it was a little bit slower, but this year he really unlocked it. He had some unbelievable plays. Even last year, the famous one where Penn State's running back Katron Allen gets out in the open field, and in the 355-pound Kenneth Grant ran him down in full pads. I think it was in like the 3rd or 4th quarter. It was just like, what did we just see here? Ridiculous. And he is physically so gifted, guy. It's crazy.
Now, are you like talking about him at 11? Or are you just talking about you get back at the end of the first round, or maybe you take him at the top of the second round?
He's good enough. I am shocked. He's been mocked in the second round for even the Bears here in the city. I would be absolutely shocked if he made it out of the first round. I do think this is going to be on the Niners, front office and research to say, hey, how much buzz is he getting, across the league? I don't think it's a big secret to the point where he's going to slip. You're going to have those conversations there at 11 of saying, hey, we might have to take this guy because if we don't, he's not going to be there if we trade back 5-6 picks.
It does feel like it's the kind of draft where some people might take some big swings just because there's not a bunch of quarterbacks pushing talent out of the top 8, like there have been in other years. Like, we had 6 quarterbacks going the top 12. So you might just take some big swings.